Ethan pretended to be a poor boy for half a year, playing a love game with a girl, until he was sure that, even if he had nothing, that girl would still love him. So, he wanted to divorce me. I'm pregnant. Then get rid of it. Under Ethan's cold gaze, I sighed. I mean, I'm already pregnant. Your value as a breeding tool is gone. Are you sure you want to divorce me? Chapter 1. Ethan's mother called me, asking me to bring Ethan along to have dinner at home. Grandpa's orders. Don't be late. Got it. I hung up the phone and called Ethan. No one answered. 10 minutes later, the call was returned. What is it? His voice was cold and distant, ignoring the impatience in his tone. I said, "Where are you? I'll come pick you up." Grandpa wants us to go back to the old house for dinner. Ethan lazily muttered. Not going. Grandpa will be upset. So what? If Grandpa gets upset, he'll cancel your card and lock all your cars. This made Ethan silent. After a while, he scoffed. Celine, is there nothing left in your heart except money? People like you are really pathetic. With that, he hung up the phone. Looking at the black screen of my phone, I sighed. Assistant song. Send me Bianca's apartment address. Chapter 2. Bianca, Ethan's current girlfriend. Half a year ago, Bianca found a drunk and collapsed Ethan on her way home from work. At first, she simply took pity on him and let him stay for the night. Later, seeing how pitiful Ethan was, she rented him the spare bedroom at a low price. As time went on, she fell for Ethan. Even when he was fired from his job and had no money, she was willing to work 3 jobs to support him. Some people laughed at her for being foolish. Others mocked her for being naive. At first, Ethan was just smiling faintly, watching the drama unfold. But then Bianca almost got assaulted while trying to buy Ethan a limited edition pair of sneakers. Ethan panicked. He smoked through the whole night. He even asked me absent-mindedly, Celine, is there someone in this world who can make you give up yourself for them? I didn't answer. Ethan didn't need my answer. He turned and left, as if he had made up his mind. Chapter 3. I had been keeping an eye on Ethan and Bianca's relationship, but I had never visited their place. Following the navigation, it took me a while to find the place. I parked in the narrow alley and called Ethan again. This time, he answered quickly. His tone was sharper. I told you, I'm not going back. I'm downstairs. Can we meet? The line went silent for a few seconds. Then Ethan cursed and hung up again. But soon, he came down the stairs. At first glance, I almost didn't recognize him. He had cut his hair, but it looked terrible. If it had been before, with that kind of haircut, he could have ruined someone's shop. But now, he wore it without a care. He was also wearing cartoon-themed loungewear and slippers that probably cost less than $100. It made me feel a little disoriented. Was this the power of love Ethan had been talking about? His face was stern as he opened the car door and sat inside. His eyes were cold and full of disdain. Did you investigate me? I couldn't help but feel helpless. Not exactly an investigation. You didn't really hide anything. When he went missing drunk, I couldn't just ignore it. When his actions were suspicious, I couldn't pretend I didn't see it. But like his mother said, as long as it wasn't overboard, let him be. Ethan sneered. Did I hide anything? Maybe if I brought someone under your nose, you'd just close your eyes. Marrying someone like you, I really must have been lucky. I chose to ignore his sarcastic words. Grandpa hasn't seen you in a long time. Mom called too. There must be something important. Ethan, you should really go back. Ethan's face twisted with sarcasm. Your husband cheats, and you're not concerned. But when my mom calls, you're all eager to rush over. Celine, are you her dog? It seemed like the conversation was going nowhere. I glanced at the time and prepared to leave. But then Ethan suddenly panicked and hunched down. He looked like he was hiding from someone. I looked out the window and instantly understood. It was Bianca, with a simple high ponytail, white shirt, and jeans, carrying a canvas bag. She walked with a playful bounce, almost giving off a refreshing vibe. I kindly reminded him, she can't see you from outside. Ethan shot me a glare, his eyes following the girl until she entered the building. Celine, I warn you, don't touch her. The way he said it. Why would I touch her? Ethan froze, turned to look at me with furrowed brows. And for a moment, I couldn't tell what he was thinking. He opened his mouth, about to say something, when suddenly his phone rang. The cheerful voice of the girl came through, probably asking where he was. Ethan softened his expression, his voice gentle enough to drip water. I'm at the supermarket downstairs. We're out of soy sauce. Don't move. I'll come up to cook. Of course. You've been working hard, so you deserve a good reward. As he spoke, he opened the car door and walked out, his steps light, his whole demeanor relaxing. I watched his back as I rolled down the window and lit a cigarette. When the cigarette burned out, I started the car and left. Chapter 4. Ethan didn't show up, which made Grandpa very angry. Half of his anger was directed at me, the other half at Ethan's mother. Ethan's mother remained calm, serving Grandpa soup and adding food to his plate. As for Grandpa's words, she nodded and listened, but how much of it she actually took in, only she knew. When Grandpa grew tired of talking, he shifted his focus to me. You've been married for 5 years. It's time to have a child. My hand froze as I was picking up food. Okay, Grandpa, we'll consider it. Grandpa shot me a glare. Don't give me that evasive nonsense like your mother. You think I don't know about Ethan's messes outside? How long has it been since you've been together? Have a child. Ha, you can't even control your own husband. Gloria. And this is the good daughter-in-law you chose? I'm telling you, I will only accept the Liu family's grandchild if it's born in a proper marriage. This made Ethan's mother raise an eyebrow. What if the child is from outside? Grandpa looked at me. Then it must be in a proper marriage. It was a suffocating meal, and I couldn't taste a thing. When we left the old house, Ethan's mother got into my car. Mom, where are you going? To the company. Seeing her rub her temples and close her eyes to rest, I didn't speak. With the soft music playing, the car moved smoothly. After a long while, Ethan's mother spoke. Did you go find Ethan? Yes. Did you see that girl? Yes. What do you think? My grip on the steering wheel tightened. She's nice, lively, cute, innocent, and romantic. Ethan's mother chuckled softly. Anyone who would bring a strange man into their home is either stupid or bad. I'm asking you, how do you feel? I didn't know how to answer. After hesitating for a moment, I said, it's fine. Ethan's mother didn't say anything else. Not until we reached our destination. She opened the car door and turned to look at me. Have a child. I'll think about it. Let me know when you decide, and I'll arrange everything. Chapter 5. Ethan's downfall was sudden and completely unexpected. It happened on the day of a friend's birthday. I wasn't planning on going, but Ethan drove and blocked the entrance to my office building. Don't look at me like that, Grandpa said. If I want to use the car, I have to take you tonight. I thought about it and agreed, but no one expected that someone would yell for a runner to go fetch the drinks. And the runner was Bianca. She stared at Ethan, looking at his high-end suit worth hundreds of thousands, at his watch that could buy her an apartment. So, you've been lying to me all this time? Ethan turned pale, and the wine glass dropped, spilling wine and glass shards everywhere. Bianca, it's not what you think. I can explain. Let's go back and talk, okay? Bianca's tears covered her face as she shook her head. Heartbroken and in pain, she pushed Ethan away and ran out. Ethan panicked. He raised his foot to chase after her. I grabbed him by the arm. Get off me, he yelled, his eyes bloodshot, as if he wanted to tear me apart. Around us, people were watching with interest, some whispering, others laughing mockingly. I blankly thought, if it had been before, I might have cried and tried to hide in a corner. But now, none of this would affect me anymore. I took out a contract and handed it to Ethan. You need to sign this. I told you. Get off me. Just sign it first. Ethan shoved me away, and I staggered a few steps and bumped into the table. Block him. At the command, several bodyguards stepped forward to block Ethan's way. Ethan's face turned terrifyingly dark. What do you want? I rubbed my sore waist. I just need you to sign this. I'm afraid I won't find you later. After those words, Ethan grabbed the contract, flipped to the last page, and quickly signed his name. Under his intense gaze, I waved for the bodyguards to step aside. Ethan pushed through the crowd and rushed out. Outside, it was pouring rain. He ran through the downpour, shouting for Bianca. He slowly ran out of sight, until his voice faded. At that moment, I finally loosened my clenched fists. Looking at the contract with Ethan's signature, I let out a deep sigh of relief. Chapter 6. Ethan became increasingly reckless. To win Bianca back, he used every possible means. He bought the house across from Bianca and moved in. He invested in the company where Bianca worked and became a shareholder. He poured money into flower shops and restaurants, sending various flowers and meals to Bianca at precise times. He drank himself to the point of stomach bleeding and stood outside Bianca's door for a whole night. He raised his injured hand and pitifully said to Bianca, "It hurts." At the same time, he issued a strict order to everyone not to leak a word about his marriage to me. This disregard for everything made me the target of everyone's attention. Everyone was waiting to see how long I could endure. A woman despised by her husband. A woman who couldn't even earn her husband's respect. She must be pitiful, right? Especially at this stage, when I had gone to the hospital a few times and even took half a month off. When I finally appeared in front of everyone again, I had lost a lot of weight. Rumors started circulating that I couldn't bear the humiliation and had committed suicide. When I first heard this, I was somewhat stunned. After a while, I realized what was going on and couldn't help but laugh. But many people believed it, including Ruby, who was far overseas. When she called me, her voice was filled with tears, saying she was buying a plane ticket and would return immediately. I did my best to reassure her that I hadn't done anything foolish, but she still sobbed. "Ethan is such a bastard. He's the one who should die. He deserves to die. Why doesn't he just die? You love him so much. How could he treat you like this?" Her words made me pause. After a long time, I said quietly, "I forgot." "What? Do I really love him? I almost can't remember." Ruby gave up on returning home, but there was one person, and his sudden call left me in silence. "Why? Can't even call someone anymore?" "Uncle." Angelo had returned home. I went to the airport to pick him up. I took him back to the villa. When I was about to leave, he said, "It's been so long. Stay and have a meal." Before I could refuse, he closed the door. There were fresh ingredients prepared at home. I guessed that he had arranged for someone to buy them before his return. He cooked the meal himself and quickly prepared 3 dishes and a soup. "How does it taste?" "It's good." I picked up some food with my chopsticks, and just as I was about to eat it, he suddenly exclaimed. I looked at him in confusion. "What's wrong?" His expression seemed to shift from surprise to something akin to melancholy. He murmured, "You didn't eat green peppers when you were young." I paused for a moment. That seemed to be true. Then I smiled and said, "I had many quirks when I was a child, but now I have no dietary restrictions." Angelo fell silent at once. We ate the meal in silence. The atmosphere made it hard to enjoy the food. When I was leaving, I said goodbye to him. Just as I turned around, he suddenly called my name. "Celine." "Yes?" "Nothing. See you tomorrow." Chapter 7. Angelo seemed to have a lot of free time. He repeatedly asked me to meet, but I kept rejecting him. So, he directly blocked the entrance to my office building. In a deep voice, he said, "Do you really dislike me that much?" I was a little helpless. "Things have been quite busy lately, Uncle. Once I get through this, I'll treat you properly." His face grew even darker. "Celine, don't use the same face you put on for everyone else with me." He left an address and turned to leave. I knew. He was truly angry. After hesitating for a long while, I decided to accept his invitation. "I knew you would come." Angelo seemed in high spirits, having drunk quite a bit. I tried to stop him a few times, but he ignored me. "It's getting late, Uncle. I'll have the driver take you home." But Angelo held me back. "Wait a little longer." I broke free from his hold, and the suppressed irritation surged again. Angelo didn't care at all. As we were at a standstill, fireworks suddenly burst outside the window. Following Angelo's gaze, I saw Ethan holding Bianca on the extended balcony. The next second, Bianca turned her head and kissed him. "Do you know what today is?" "Today is the day Ethan proposed. Your husband." He's proposing to someone else. Angelo was very close to me, his warm, damp breath hitting my neck, sending shivers down my spine. I clenched my fists and gritted my teeth. What do you want to do? Angelo pushed me to the window. Celine, are you going to divorce him on your own? Or do you want me to help you? Chapter 8. At the age of 12, my parents passed away. My relatives, like mad dogs, all wanted to bite off a piece of me. Angelo had once followed my grandfather to learn calligraphy and had received our family's kindness. So, he adopted me. That year, he was 20. He said he would take care of me until I turned 18. After that, my fate would be my own. At 18, I confessed my feelings to him. He grabbed my neck and said, "Take your filthy thoughts back." He kicked me out of the house. It was Ethan who took me in. It's okay. He doesn't like you. But I like you. Celine, don't be afraid. I will always treat you well. At 22, I married Ethan. Angelo asked me, "Are you sure?" I nodded. That year, he was 30. He moved all his business abroad and never came back. Now, he's asking me to divorce. I regret it. From the moment I handed you over to him, I've regretted it. I thought, as long as you were happy, I wouldn't disturb you. But now, Celine, leave him. Finally, I got tired of it. I shoved him away. Uncle, I won't divorce. And I'm pregnant. Chapter 9. Ethan looked at me with a ridiculous expression. You're pregnant? Whose is it? This was the first time Ethan actively came to see me after he got together with Bianca. He said he wanted to give Bianca an explanation. First, he wanted to divorce me. I raised my eyes to look at him. But I'm pregnant. In an instant, Ethan's expression changed drastically. Whose? Yours. He let out a cold laugh. If I remember correctly, I haven't touched you in over a year. Mine? How did you get pregnant? I took a copy from the drawer and pushed it in front of him. Artificial insemination. When Ethan loved me the most. In order to marry me, he knelt before Grandpa and was beaten mercilessly, breaking a rib, but he still gently wiped my tears, telling me not to be afraid and that he would definitely give me a home. We broke through many obstacles and ended up together. In the first year of marriage, we were inseparable, and he loved me to the bone. The only dissatisfaction was that I worked with his mother. Can't you change companies? Why do you always have to obey her? Would you rather accompany her on a business trip or come with me on a cruise? You're my wife. Why can't you stand by me? Celine, are you Gloria's dog? That's how the rift began, and once it appeared, it just kept growing. The time he had a car accident, I heard about it and compressed 3 days' worth of work into 1.5, working nonstop for over 30 hours to get back home. When I opened the door, I saw a pure-looking girl blushing, helping him to the bathroom. He looked indifferent, raising his eyebrows and smiling. If you don't come back, I naturally need to find someone else. Celine, I don't have to have you. Ethan didn't understand why so many practical things had to get in the way between us. Pure love shouldn't be like this. He even began to doubt my motives for marrying him. Did I like him? Or did I like the Lou family behind him? It was also that time, even though he wasn't seriously hurt. The accident was so horrific. Grandpa was scared and ordered him never to race again. He also took precautions and had him freeze his sperm. Looking at the documents in his hands, Ethan took a long time to snap back to reality. Celine, are you crazy? Did my mom make you do this? Are you really just listening to her? Would you go if she told you to die? He furrowed his brows and crumpled the document, throwing it aside. I don't care what you all want to do. I won't acknowledge this child. I want a divorce. Get rid of the child. My hands trembled as they rested on my lap. I took a deep breath, exhaling slowly. Ethan, do you remember how you got that 5% of shares? The expression on Ethan's face gradually faded. He remembered. That 5% of shares in his hands came from his father. After he was born, the 5% of shares his father originally held were automatically transferred to him, to be held by his mother until he came of age. That was the Lou family's rule. Now I'm pregnant. When the child is born, I will hold those 5% shares for you. Ethan, now at the Lou family, Your role as a breeding tool no longer matters. Are you sure you want to divorce me? Chapter 10. Ethan completely lost control and started smashing everything in the office. Just as he was about to charge at me, Angelo burst in. He stood in front of me, kicking Ethan out of the way. Ethan, his eyes bloodshot, held his stomach, and let out a low laugh. So your protector is back, Celine. Don't forget, the one who threw you out like trash back then was him. I picked you up. Ha. The biggest regret of my life is picking you up. Angelo grabbed Ethan by the collar. He pushed him back, slamming him against the wall. How did you promise me back then? What have you done all these years? Now I'm back, and you better not hurt Celine again. Ethan's eyes widened in rage as he threw a punch. Who are you to teach me a lesson? I'll tell you this, even if you're back, you're still someone I don't want. I didn't know whether it was the hormonal changes from being pregnant or if Ethan and Angelo's simultaneous appearance triggered too many memories. But for a moment, I felt dizzy. I knocked over a glass, smashing it on the ground, and supported myself on the desk, growling. Get out. Ethan snorted coldly. Celine, do you think a child will threaten me? I'll tell you, this marriage is over. He slammed the door and left. Angelo stepped forward, worried. Celine, you leave too. Chapter 11. Such a scene couldn't be hidden from Grandpa. With one phone call, he summoned all of us back. By the time I arrived, Ethan was already kneeling there, just like when he wanted to marry me in the first place. Ethan's mother didn't even glance at us, leisurely making tea. Grandpa slapped the table, expressionless. Say those words again. Ethan stubbornly looked up. I want a divorce. Smack! Grandpa slammed his cane onto Ethan's back, causing him to grunt in pain. 5 years ago, you begged to marry her. 5 years later, you begged to divorce. Ethan. Oh, Ethan. 5 years. And you haven't improved at all. If you had any ability, you wouldn't be kneeling here asking me. This made me and Ethan's mother exchange a glance. But clearly, Ethan didn't understand, and his emotions grew even more agitated. Is it because of the child in her belly? I never agreed to this child, and it wasn't even conceived naturally. Why should it be born? I don't care. This marriage is over. Grandpa's hopeful gaze slowly turned to disappointment. Fine. You want a divorce, right? Then get out of this family. Ethan's whole body tensed and trembled. Slowly rising, his gaze swept over us one by one. Here we go again. It's always like this. In your eyes. Is there nothing but money? I just want real affection. What's wrong with that? Ethan ran out. Grandpa was so angry he almost fell backward. Ethan's mother told the butler to take good care of Grandpa before leaving with me. On the way back, she suddenly spoke. If you want to go with Angelo, it's still not too late to get rid of the child. I lowered my eyes, gently placing my hand on my belly. When he said he would send me away when I turned 18, I was really scared, which is why I confessed to him. Looking back, I'm not sure how much love was really in it. Ethan's mother looked at me and suddenly smiled. Celine, you know, you're like my most perfect creation. I smiled too. Of course, I knew. From the moment she first gave me guidance, I began to showcase every success I had in front of her. Ethan thought I was flattering her, but he didn't understand. One word of advice from someone powerful is worth more than 1,000 efforts on your own. I just wanted her to think that she was sculpting me. I was her masterpiece. If she didn't promote me, who else would she promote? Chapter 12. The next time Ethan and I met was at a banquet. When I appeared, linking arms with Angelo, he was sitting in the car, waiting for Bianca, who was working as a waitress. At first, I didn't notice him, until I felt that heavy gaze. I turned around and immediately met Ethan's expressionless face. He looked at my hand linked with Angelo's, a mocking curve appearing on his lips. He snorted, then rolled up the car window. What's wrong? Angelo asked. I remained calm. Mr. Angelo, let me confirm with you again. If I accompany you to this banquet, the Hengqin project will be mine. Angelo sighed helplessly. When have I ever lied to you? He wanted to say something else, but I had already stepped inside. Ethan was still holding his ground. Since the day he left, Grandpa had canceled his cards and locked his cars. In the past, he would beg for mercy after just a couple of days. But this time, he had held out for a week, including the car he was driving today. It was clearly not his. I couldn't help but be a little curious. Was this really true love? Could he bear it? Could Bianca too? Standing on the third floor, I watched as Ethan handed a thermos to Bianca, draped a coat over her, and pushed her into the car. As he walked to the driver's side, he seemed to glance up. Maybe he couldn't see me, but he paused for a few seconds, then finally got in the car and left. That night, my phone rang once at dawn, just one ring before it hung up. It was Ethan. The next day, he called again. Celine, we need to talk. Chapter 13. Ethan had lost weight, and it seemed like his smoking addiction had grown stronger. But when he looked up at me, that full-blown hostility was still unchanged. What's the matter? Keeping your distance. Afraid I'll lay my hands on you? Don't worry. I don't hit women. I didn't respond to his words. I just said, can you put out the cigarette? I'm pregnant. Ethan stiffened for a moment, his gaze falling on my belly, his jaw clenched tight. But in the end, he still put out the cigarette. Though the motion was a bit forceful, we sat across from each other, neither of us speaking. After a long while, Ethan exhaled a deep breath, relaxed his tense shoulders, and leaned back a little. Celine, did you ever like me? This question was unexpected, but coming from Ethan, it seemed somehow reasonable, yet I didn't understand. Does it matter now? Ethan smirked sarcastically. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Feelings have never mattered to you. So, why can't we just let go of each other? I'll say it plainly. What would it take for you to get rid of this child? What would it take for you to divorce? I gently tapped on the table. If you insist on divorcing, wait until the child is born. Ethan laughed. He laughed low at first, then burst out laughing. He rubbed his face, lowered his hands, and his eyes reddened. Is it because of that 5% share? I'll give it to you. Don't even need to hold it for me as long as you get rid of the child. I'll give it to you directly. I shook my head. Grandpa won't agree. Finally, Ethan exploded. He suddenly kicked the chair beside him. Every word that comes out of your mouth is calculated. Celine, you really disgust me. Ethan left, but I stayed seated for a long time. I didn't move. Even my legs started to feel numb. Mr. Angelo, are you enjoying the show? Angelo sighed as he walked in from behind the half-open door. Celine, why are you doing this? Leave him. I can give you everything you want. I looked at the man kneeling beside me on one knee. When he first appeared in my life, I thought he was my whole world. I once feared losing him, doing everything I could to please him. But in reality, it had nothing to do with him. It was the weak me clinging to someone powerful. Uncle, I'm grateful to you, both for what you did in the past and now. When you took me in at 12, it changed my life. At 18, confessing my feelings to you was my mistake. I was desperately trying to grab onto a piece of driftwood, afraid I'd sink, and I used the wrong method. I'm sorry. Angelo trembled lightly. What do you want to say? That you never liked me? I stayed silent, meeting his gaze. He smiled, but it was more painful than crying. What about Ethan? Even after everything, you still like him? Slowly, I shook my head. I don't know. Maybe I just don't have love in me. Whoever treats me well, I'll go with them. I once thought I loved Ethan so much, but gradually, I began to get confused. Did I love him? Or did I just love the fact that he treated me well? Just like Ethan once asked me, if he wasn't from the Louvre family, if he had nothing, would I still love him? And I remained silent. Chapter 14. Bianca found out about my existence. This completely broke her and Ethan apart. I don't know what kind of love-hate entanglement they went through. About 10 days later, Ethan came home. He leaned against the door, looking worn out and mockingly saying, "Are you satisfied now?" I had a headache. The physical discomfort combined with the heavy workload made me not want to get entangled with Ethan. So, I closed my computer. I'm going to the guest bedroom tomorrow. I'll move to an apartment near the company. But Ethan grabbed me. What do you mean? I sighed. Anyway, you don't want to see me, and we won't get in each other's way. In an instant, Ethan's face turned a terrifying shade of dark. Because of Angelo? Celine. I'm telling you, don't think you can be with him. Ethan went back to his carefree rich kid life. Some said he was heartbroken and couldn't heal. Others said he was drowning his sorrow in alcohol. We met less frequently. What surprised me was that he actually accompanied me to a prenatal checkup. You don't need to go. I can go by myself. Don't talk nonsense. Get in the car. We drove in silence. When we arrived at the hospital, he took my bag and held it in his hand, staring at my feet for a while. Can't you just take off those damn high heels? I raised an eyebrow. Who told you I'm going to a prenatal checkup today? Ethan snorted. Who else would know besides you and your mother? Today was my 4th prenatal checkup. Ethan listened intently to the doctor and asked many questions. This made me stare at him absent-mindedly. That night, I thought about a lot of things. The next day, when Ethan had bought breakfast and was standing impatiently at my door, I spoke first. You always wanted to learn sculpture. How about going abroad to study? Ethan looked at me in confusion. What do you mean? Before I could answer, he suddenly realized. Are you driving me away? Like my mom drove my dad away? Celine, how dare you treat me like this? I even thought I should let go of my grudges with you and start over. I really was wasting my time. He threw the breakfast on the ground in a mess. Ethan got drunk, went to my doorstep, and caused a scene all night. After seeing it on the surveillance, I checked into a hotel. The next day, at the airport, Angelo and I waited in the lounge, and as the time was getting closer, I just stood up when Ethan rushed in. Come with me. I stumbled as he pulled me, and Angelo quickly shielded me. She's still pregnant. Don't you know? My wife is mine, and the child is mine. What's it to you? Get lost. Ethan, that's enough. The two of them were about to fight again. I checked the time, grabbed Ethan, and stood in front of Angelo. Uncle, it's time. You should board your flight. Angelo looked at me, the light in his eyes slowly fading. Finally, he took a step back, straightened his collar, and brushed past me. Without turning back, he softly said, Celine, you can always come find me. Ethan was about to explode again, but I held him down. Uncle, have a safe flight. Until his figure disappeared from view, I released Ethan's hand. He looked awkward and a bit nervous. I thought someone said they saw you at the airport. I thought you were leaving. On the way back, we each drove our own car. Ethan followed me the entire way and all the way to the company. I ignored him, but when I finished my work and left, he was still there. Let me give you a ride. No need. Celine, move back. I don't feel comfortable with you alone. Or, if you want to stay near the company, I can move in. No need. Celine, can you stop doing this? Ethan grabbed me, frustration obvious on his face. I've already done all this. What else do you want? I finally lost all patience and clicked my tongue. Ethan, if you stop causing trouble, I could keep supporting you. Why can't you stop? You stay quiet for a few days, and I've already started arranging your study abroad plans. The anger in Ethan's eyes grew more intense. I raised my chin. An assistant's song blocked him. We got into the car and drove off. Through the rearview mirror, I could still see him angrily shouting. I had put Ethan under house arrest. It was really simple. Blocked his cards, locked his cars, and controlled his phone. He could disappear for 10 days or half a month, and no one would notice. Just as Grandpa said, the things Ethan wanted could only be obtained by begging on his knees. Why? Because after all these years, he still hadn't earned a seat at the negotiating table. So, being Ethan's wife is such a risky thing. He can't even protect himself. How could he protect anyone else? No matter what, he's still a child of the Liu family. But me? If all I do is talk about love with him, once this love changes in nature, what do I have left? Just like giving birth, it can be my added value, but it can never be all of my value. Chapter 15. These past few days, Ethan has been making a huge scene, refusing to eat or drink, smashing things to vent, and demanding that I see him. I really didn't want to go, Ethan's mother said lightly. Although Grandpa doesn't really manage things anymore and has no real power, He's still his grandson. Don't let things get out of hand. I gave a faint and went to the villa that evening. Ethan looked a mess, and his gaze towards me was filled with hatred. Either you kill me, or I'll never let you go. My belly was already starting to show. I was a little tired from standing, so I sat on the couch. You don't need to react like that. I won't do anything to you. You just can't go back to the country. As for food, clothing, and other needs, you won't lack anything. Should I thank you for that? No need, Celine. Ethan growled low. He tried to get up from the floor but didn't even have the strength to lift himself. Why? When I was with Bianca, you didn't react at all. Why are you doing this now? Why? Because you want to start over. You'll come back for a while, then get bored, and continue looking for what you call true love. This whole process feels like hitting a wall. It's annoying. Ethan laughed absurdly. Annoying? I said I wanted to start over. And you say it's annoying? So, you've really never loved me? See? This kind of conversation is like hitting a wall. Then just pretend I've never loved you. Ethan stopped causing a scene and obediently boarded the private jet. When Grandpa asked about him, I said he had gone abroad to study. Grandpa cursed nonsense, but didn't say more. In his lifetime, he had worked tirelessly for the company, and there was little to fault in his career. The only failure was his children and grandchildren, none of whom were willing to inherit the family business. He didn't understand, and neither did I. Only Ethan's mother smiled and said, "Delayed gratification is bad for children, and so is overindulgence. When things come too easily, they no longer create desire. Then, people can only chase after the elusive, just like Ethan's father, who pursued complete freedom, and Ethan, who only wanted pure love." Chapter 16. The day I gave birth. I was still on a conference call when I arrived at the hospital. People were whispering. They said I was pretending to be a strong woman, but in the end, I still had to give birth. I had heard these voices many times before, including at the company. There were people who said I thought too highly of myself. Does the company stop working without her? I of course knew that wasn't the case. It wasn't that the company couldn't survive without me. It was that I couldn't survive without the company. In my life, there were very few things I could hold on to. Once I grabbed something, I would never let go. That day was the 15th, and the moon was full, from the afternoon until sunset. As the night fell, a clear sound of a baby's cry filled the air. It was a boy. He was held in Ethan's mother's arms. For the first time, I saw a tenderness on her face that wasn't just indifference. She said, "You've worked hard. Rest well. By the way, Ethan has returned. He was waiting outside. Just left. My people will personally make sure he gets on the plane." I nodded and fell into a deep sleep. The next year was a chaotic one, with the 5% share transferred to the child's name. My influence in the company grew. This also meant I would be even busier. I hired a postpartum nurse and a nanny. No matter where I flew, I made sure they brought the child along with me. At first, I thought Ethan's mother would object, but she simply smiled knowingly and said nothing. Later, at a banquet, perhaps after a bit of wine, she spoke. "After I had Ethan, my choice was similar to yours, to keep him by my side and take care of him personally. But sadly, my daily company couldn't compare to his father's brief encounters and a few words. Maybe that's blood relation. It's quite magical." Ethan's mother's words surprised me. I had always known that Ethan didn't like his mother. Compared to his strong-willed and authoritative mother, Ethan was more sympathetic to his father. In the past, I had speculated that it was due to the lack of maternal love, but I hadn't expected it wasn't the case. So, was she trying to tell me that my child would be the same as Ethan? Ethan's mother seemed to read my thoughts. She raised an eyebrow. "Don't worry. I won't predict how this child will turn out. Just like Ethan, although he grew up to be a jerk, his childhood moments count. He was cute back then, and he really gave me a lot of joy. So, Celine, just do what you want to do, whether the outcome is good or bad. That's a matter for the future." The first birthday party for the child was grand. Ethan, as the father, of course, couldn't be absent. Throughout the entire event, he didn't make any mistakes, acting like a mature and competent father. I knew he had changed his major. He didn't study sculpture. He studied computer science. He had already started his own business. The day before he left, he said the first words he had spoken to me since we had met. He said, "Celine, I will be stronger and wealthier than you. When that happens, I will come back." What he didn't say was, if he became stronger and wealthier than Celine, would Celine love him? He was a bit afraid and didn't dare to hear Celine's answer. He just left a longevity lock on the baby's neck. Chapter 17. I met Bianca once. She recognized me first, immediately turning away, but then shyly greeted me. "Hello." She offered me a piece of cake, and I invited her to sit down for a coffee. "Actually, I've always wanted to apologize to you. I didn't know he was married. If I had known, I definitely wouldn't have been with him. If my dad finds out about this, he'll probably kill me." "Didn't your dad tell you not to bring strangers home?" When I mentioned this, Bianca sighed. "Actually, now that I think about it, I'm really scared. If he were a bad guy, a pervert, or a human trafficker, I'd be done for." I can't even understand why I brought him home without a second thought. I used to think she was too well protected, unaware of the dangers of the world. But after everything I've gone through, I now realize that such innocence isn't from being overly protected. It's from never being protected at all. Bianca opened up. She told me how she found out that Ethan had a wife. "Do you remember that birthday party? I was working as a waitress at the party, and Ethan, who was supposed to be waiting outside for me, suddenly walked in. At first, I thought he was worried about me, but then I noticed he was staring at someone else. It was you. That day you wore a nude-colored long dress, your hair up with a strand hanging down, looking really beautiful. He just looked at you and that man, with no expression on his face. I asked him if he knew you, and he said no. I said you looked great, and he said you looked awful." Bianca laughed as she said this, a hint of smugness in her tone. "In that moment, I knew your relationship with him wasn't simple. So, I started observing him secretly, until I found a small photo under his and my couple phone cases. It was probably from when you were in school, a 1-inch photo with a blue background. You know, at that moment, I was really happy. What is love supposed to be like?" Bianca thought it was selfless, giving your all without expecting anything in return. That's how she had been with Ethan all along. She gave him everything she had, even the things she couldn't bear to part with. For me, having a nice meal once a week, watching a movie, buying a new piece of clothing every month, and traveling once a year, that was a big reward for myself. Ethan likes a particular takeout, costing $200 per meal. He asked me why I didn't eat it, and I said I didn't like it. The truth is, I just couldn't bear to spend the money. Ethan made tea eggs for me at home, using tea leaves that cost $1,000 per kilogram. After he finished boiling them, he thought they didn't taste right, so he threw both the eggs and the tea leaves away. I was upset the whole night and couldn't sleep. He has VIP access to all the movie streaming apps, but he hardly uses them. I said, "Turn off the auto-renewal," and he replied, "Why turn it off? What if I want to watch something and it's no longer available? It's a hassle." Bianca laughed bitterly. "Sometimes I feel like I have such a small view of things." He just bought a bottle of drink, and I was secretly upset in my heart, wondering why he couldn't just drink water. Before meeting him, I had $20,000 in savings. After being with him for 3 months, I was left with just $1,000. I believe that two people in love shouldn't be so calculating when it comes to money. Talking about money just kills the mood, but I'm suffocating under this pressure. He hugs me and asks me for $100 to buy cigarettes. I really wanted to say, "Can't you buy cheaper ones?" But I couldn't say it. I could only hold it in, calculating every day, thinking about how to earn a bit more. Her emotions became intense, and I had the waiter refill her coffee and pushed it towards her. "Thank you." She took a small sip. Actually, when I found out he was a rich kid, I felt really low and even secretly happy. I thought I had hit the jackpot, that my suffering was finally over. I always said that no matter if he had a job or money, I would love him just the same. I wasn't after his money, but when I realized he had money, I was really happy. "Do you think I'm also a bit dark?" Bianca said that when Ethan broke with his family and started relying on her again, she already started to feel some disgust toward him. On one hand, she thought Ethan was doing it for her, so she should be happy and take responsibility for it. But more than that, she started to calculate, how much had she given, and how much had she gotten in return? It wasn't fair. Why? She was screaming hysterically inside, ready to explode, but she couldn't break the limits she had set for herself. She had to be the perfect girlfriend. She couldn't break up with him when he hadn't done anything wrong. Otherwise, she would be immoral. It wasn't until she found out about my existence that she felt, in an instant, like she had found an oasis in the desert. She could finally stand on the moral high ground without hesitation and tell Ethan that it was over. After Ethan left, the relief she felt in that moment made Bianca feel like she was reborn. By the time Bianca finished speaking, she seemed a little embarrassed. I was supposed to apologize, but instead, I've made you listen to all my complaints. I smiled and shook my head, looking at her seriously. By the way, you mentioned you still do some painting on the side. I have a project. Would you be interested in joining? This world, there are always many people telling girls to be kind and good. It seems that this is the minimum standard. If you can't even do this, then you're not a good girl. But no one tells them that kindness must be met with kindness, and beauty must be built on self-confidence. Slowly, even saying no requires 1,000 reasons. Why can't we be selfish? Why must we always try to be liked? Why can't we have sharp edges? Why can't we be rebellious? Why must we be a good girl? These seemingly gentle shackles should have been broken long ago. We girls should become a better version of ourselves. To be whole people,